like get longer than it needs to be for intro wise. I need to update my intro. Music should we have next? I want to do yeah, soundtracks it is. Okay. I think. Well, I was hoping that I had found the problem with there's like crackling sounds in the audio since I changed over to doing splitting audio sources and stuff, and I thought I'd actually introduce some lag into the system, perhaps. Which is entirely possible. We do trains today, but I'm going to do Vikings tomorrow because finally my co-op partner is free, so she'll be able to help me with some of the bosses and stuff. But pretty much finished off most of the scenarios for the content I've got at the moment. What I might start off with a tube. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
Wow!
Thanks for following, mister. My turn racing. Very kind of you. Right, I'm really bad at the tube. And 18,000 points I've got to get. It's going to go really badly. Then turn that up. I've managed to get turn side chaining on, so audio ducking, that's the word I'm trying to think of. Turned on audio ducking. I can have my audio up quite loud, but then the microphone will cut it out. I've been at Elephant and Castle. Unlock the doors. Don't know whether I'm clocking in, so I must be ready to go. Doesn't sound like it, does it? There's no engine sound or anything. Wait until 17. Right. Going on. There we go. Lights and shit. That would be really good. Cab. There we go. See what I'm doing. Just remember how many stops I've got on the brake thing. I think it's 3. The thing is, as it goes past the brake, it unfortunately slows down less. It's really weird. But that's how tube chain works. Damn it, I haven't got a cup. Slam it straight into 3rd. Dramatic music just for going through a tunnel, eh? I don't think you get penalised for leaving early. I was really tempted to buy more of the DLC this month, but I don't know. Oh, I can just unlock the doors like that. I'm on Joker. Did not know that. Is that holding the train? I think it is. Right, I'm leaving. I ain't conforming to your timetable. I wonder what would happen if you derailed in a tunnel. Now I could understand it if you were to memorise a route, right? You would have place marks and things. But if you're travelling on the tube, how do you do that? It's all the same. I tried to stop, but no. Not good. Still gotta try and set up a quiz for my my music. Although it's all muted in the VOD, so to play it back, it would be quite funny because it would be absolutely silent for people. But you know, I just think it'd be quite fun because I've got such a varied. Selection of tunes. Gonna have to slow down to 20 anyway. We'll coast into the station. I tried to brake at 3 carriages long, but well. I was really tempted to get the Isle of Wight. What's the other one? Obviously Southern High Speed is the one I want to get. Piccadilly Circus. Just imagine you'd feel claustrophobic by driving a tube train every day. Don't you think? I'd imagine people that know certain composers for certain films would kind of be able to guess the composers for certain things that I've got. They've got a certain sound to them. They have several tricks that they use. No matter what film you're listening to, you can always say, oh, this is by James Horner. I'm leaning forwards again when I don't need to. I look forward to more diesel trains. That's my thing. Electric trains, meh. Diesel trains is where is that? I live on a main road. What can I say? It just happens to be the route towards the main hospital. I'll have ambulances and police cars that will turn their siren on just as they pass my house. They live on top of a hill. So I guess they need to warn people that they're coming, but it just... If you're sitting here quietly, it could be, you can get the shock of your life. I'm gonna overshoot. Oof. Too bad. I need to have like a checklist, and I know you probably have that when you actually drive these trains for real. Certain trains have certain startup procedures that I don't always commit to memory. I need to install a few mods as well. So I've got some paint schemes that aren't in the main game. I mean, when you're on the tube, you feel like you're going a million miles an hour. It's weird to think that it's only going 30 maximum. Ooh. Brake too hard, then. Oh! I'm not braking as hard as I can. I just realised. It goes down to 4. My bad. I think this is on the District line? Regent's Park? Or was it a Piccadilly line? I can never remember. It all just looks the same, doesn't it? It must feel like freedom, and you know, if you did a route where you're constantly in the tunnels, you must go home suffering from light depression, you know. But if you work on a route where you go in and out of the tunnels and go overground as well, it must feel like a relief to suddenly get out of the tunnel. It must be how a mole would feel if it could see. Stopped a bit short, but hey. Seemingly I picked all the dramatic tunes in the playlist. My bad. I don't know, I haven't actually checked how much you get scored down for not stopping on your marks for a while. If at all. I'm not sure how this train differs from the Isle of Wight one, because they're both tube stock. But I think one is older than the other. Because the controls of the Isle of Wight look a little different to this. Spooky music. Not what I want when I'm going through a tunnel. I wish those TVs worked. They're fake. I managed to get most of the mods that I installed the other day. I managed to get ones that adjusted the what's it called now? Great Western Main Line, that's the one. So that it kind of dated it back to the British Rail days. I might have to do a scenario on that today. I'm kind of putting off completing the stuff on the West Somerset Railway because it's just so annoying how slow you need to go through some of the stations. I'm having to be really, what's the word? Inventive with the food I can cook at the moment, because my cooker seems to be fusing the electrics in the flat. So every time I turn the cooker on, my electrics trip. Still went. Which is annoying to say the least, considering I'd just done a big grocery shop and most of the stuff is in the freezer. I can't really do much about it at the moment. Reported it to my rental agent and I hope that they will actually get off their arse and do something. But I'm never very confident that they will, because they're just lacking in doing anything. Now, this happened months ago, where it would. I thought it was because when I cleaned the hob that I got some liquid in the electronics of the grill. So I again reported it, and someone came around and checked, and I switched it on. Electrics didn't trip, and the bloke was like, took one look at it and said, "Well, I'm getting paid. Doesn't matter if it doesn't trip when I'm there. I'm getting paid. See you later." Claimed his call-out fee, and then went back and said, "Oh no, it's fixed." And then I had certain occurrences where I could hear scratching and things. So I thought I might have a rodent problem. Rodent problems don't come under things to do with the rental agent, so it was my problem to get that solved. That went away on its own. I'm seriously wondering whether the rodents that I probably did have were in the wall cavities, probably since died. Maybe chewed through something? It's just weird that it will sometimes trip and sometimes not. I've been trying to trip it myself. The other night I turned the oven on just as a test, turn the computer off because I don't want it to keep kind of fusing the electrics and making my computer turn off. So I turned it on for a little while. I was like, okay, it's not tripping after 5 minutes or so, so I'll turn it off. Left the master switch on, went to bed, and the electrics tripped. I was like, okay. But then I did it the other day. I turned the thing on, and it didn't trip. But I left the master switch off this time. So, but it's just not reliable enough to be able to cook a 40-minute meal if the electrics in the flat keeps turning off. It's a shame. Because I have food to cook. At the moment, lunch and dinner is consisting on what I can cook in a microwave. Oops. But other than that, life is peachy. I had 3 projects to do this week. Most of them are pretty much done. They're off to print. 2 of them are off to print. Have I still got my email open? No, I don't. I probably should check my work email just in case there's been a reply, but... Ooh! We're gonna get some daylight. Keep the throttle on because I know that it's going up the hill there. Daylight. Daylight. I think there's a sudden burst of speed because I think you're between electric supply when you come up the hill. I really have to watch Interstellar sometime. I have the music from it. I've never seen it. I used to watch movies all the time. Just don't seem to. Nothing really stopping me. I've even got Amazon Prime. I should be watching stuff off that. Although I did for a time, I looked up as much as I could off of the Prime Video stuff. But this wasn't a lot that I wanted to watch. And all the stuff that I did want to watch was an extra rental fee that I wasn't really willing to pay. But I remember seeing I never remember the name of it. I get it confused with Interstellar, but I've not watched Interstellar. It's the film with it's based in space as well. It's the film with Sandra Bullock in it. I just can never remember the name of it. And it was a very clever movie. Because it seemed to simulate weightlessness quite well of the main character. Like Apollo 13 did. You know? That was faked in a lot of ways. Well, of course it's fake. They didn't take them up to the moon, did they? But I mean, they weren't officially weightless for some of the movie. But there's some camera trickery going on this movie. Plus, it's one of those movies where I think it's done in one shot. So the entire movie is Sandra on screen all of the time for like an hour and a half. There's probably some clever transitions here at certain points, but I think it's in one shot. It's why I want to watch the film 1917, because apparently that's the same. That kind of intrigues me. I found it quite a don't know, a very intense movie. It didn't seem to let up. There was always something going wrong. You know, you went from one problem to the other. didn't seem to to have any kind of respite. It's going to come to me randomly, the name of the movie. But I remember some people discussing it on a podcast that I listened to, and they had not a completely different take to what I got from the movie, but they were kind of convinced that the movie didn't actually take place in space at all. They thought the main character was actually dreaming everything that was going on. And the things that they were going through were technically real because it talks about grief and things and loss and what have you. But it was is the word allegory? Is that the right word? It's a representation of what was going on in her head. I don't think allegory is the right word. I've gone through a phase at the moment of kind of nostalgia. So I've been listening to a lot of what would have been audio tapes of stories that I used to listen to when I was younger. Brings back a lot of memories, and plus it reminds me of things that when I was a kid I wouldn't have noticed these stories being so damn horrific. So particularly I read the plot of Pinocchio, and I know there's several different interpretations of it. Disney's is one. Although Disney's interpretation is still horrific, but this story that was told was pretty close to what I found on Wikipedia. And the whole story is horrific from start to finish. And how it was ever meant for kids, I don't know. Because you got things of people being swallowed by whales and Pinocchio being arrested and sent to a labour camp and getting turned into a donkey and watching his best friend die, and oh my god, horrific. And of course, having an adult perspective to these things, it's like, yeah, okay, I can see how as a kid you might have thought this was wonderful, but when you think of it as an adult, you're just like, no. It's the same as Peter Pan as well. I would imagine the Disney version of Peter Pan would have been quite subdued. I've never watched the cartoon, I don't think. But the interpretations I've seen of Peter Pan have all been pretty similar. They've all been kind of light-hearted. There's been certain aspects that are dark as hell. And particularly this is the bit that worried me, and I don't think it comes up in Hook, the movie, which probably does a good job of masking over the weird bits of the story. So obviously Peter Pan, I think he comes to a certain window, a certain house in the neighborhood because he likes the stories that are being read. and there's one occurrence where he kind of gets caught and he can't leave. But then the fact that these kids kind of believe the story of that he can fly and he has a fairy and what have you, and then they just forget about their parents and fly out the window, and you're like, what? And then you have all the stories of the adults versus the children back on Neverland and things like that. But what creeped me out was the end of the story was, well, there's a certain amount of jealousy from Tinkerbell, which came out of nowhere, and she actually plotted to kill Wendy. She pretty much had her murdered, or so she thought, which is dark, very dark. In the Hook movie, I think there is a kind of certain amount of jealousy, but I don't think she actually tries to murder Wendy. But it's the bit at the end when they kind of dispatched of Hook and they kind of getting homesick and they decide to go home, and all of the Lost Boys are basically adopted by the Darling family. Is that right? But Peter doesn't want to be adopted. He ends up leaving. He doesn't. It's like he's in denial. He doesn't want to grow up, so he knows that if he stays and becomes adopted and actually gets some parents, he will eventually grow up. So he leaves the Lost Boys to grow up. But then the creepy bit about it was he comes back year after year to take Wendy back to Neverland, right? And she gets older and older and older. And then there's one time he comes back and she said, "I'm too old, I can't come back with you." And Peter Pan then speaks to his her daughter, Wendy's daughter, basically kidnaps her and takes her away to Neverland. And you can, I think the last words from Wendy is like, "Oh, Peter, no!" And you're like, the boy in denial that needs counselling, very much so, kidnapped Wendy's daughter and took her to Neverland. Yeah, so very creepy. Very creepy. I think I remember actually watching, we watched a pantomime of Peter Pan way back when I was a kid. It's something we would have probably travelled to London for as a school trip. And I remember Peter, it was particularly in pantomimes in England, many roles to do with small boys were taken by young women. So I particularly remember, I can't remember if it was the one that I saw, where Peter Pan was played by Bonnie Langford. Still can't remember who or what she was. A dancer or something. The other one way back was Lulu, I think. Obviously a bit younger back then to play a young boy. And I distinctly remember there was a there was a moment in the I was going to say movie. It's not movie. Moment in the play. Considering I would have been maybe under 10 at the time, there was a moment in the play when Peter Pan is in the bedroom trying to convince Wendy and the kids to go back with him, and he gets up on the windowsill, and I was sure that when whoever was playing Peter Pan at the time, when trying to get up on the windowsill, banged her ankle. And you can see her facing away from the crowd, and I was sure she was going, "Damn it, that fucking hurt." I just remember that vividly. It probably didn't happen. It's probably something that I thought happened but didn't. It's the same as around the time when we were 12, 13, 14, something like that, we were taken to London to watch the Young Shakespeare Company perform Romeo and Juliet. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was Macbeth, I think. Was it Macbeth? Can't remember. Some play of Shakespeare's. And remember vividly in that as well, there was a part in the play where the guards come in to capture somebody. Maybe this was Macbeth. Don't know. And the guards came in, and the nurse had a child. Of course, Shakespeare is dark as hell as well. And part of the play, I think, including the guards, they murdered the child. I never thought that was part of Shakespeare, but they and how they represented that in the play was obviously the child, the baby was a doll, and the guards snatched the doll from the nurse, and then they took the doll and whacked its head on the table. I'm sure they're meant to be really dramatic, and you know, but to 14 and 15-year-olds seeing this grown man just take this this doll, a toy made for a kid, and just whack this plastic head on a table, they didn't get the desired response. Everyone just started laughing. I thought it would have been hilarious. Yeah, it's weird what you remember. So yeah, I've been in a nostalgic mood lately. Looking back at things that I used to listen to as a kid. I'm gonna miss this one. Bad. But some of the other stories that were on, it had some pretty good voice actors on these audio tapes I used to listen to. So the story of Pinocchio was read by Ian Lavender. Now, if you know Ian Lavender, he was an actor that was in a TV series in Britain called Dad's Army. He played Corporal Pike, I think. But he read Pinocchio. The ones I listened to 2 days ago, there was something about Harlequin and Columbine, the story of Harlequin and Columbine, read by Leonard Rossiter of what was the thing he was in? I think he was in a sitcom called Rising Damp, and the other one escapes me. There's also an actor that appeared quite frequently on the stories, which was Nigel Lambert. His voice acting was always pretty cool on these stories. I'm sure there's other famous people that I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, Miriam Margolyes, I think her name is. She read God, what did she read? Wizard of Oz. She put on an American accent. It's quite funny. Now I always got confused with Miriam Margolyes when I always thought that she played there was a children's TV series called the Pink Windmill, something like that, and she played a wicked witch. I thought, but it wasn't her. A wicked witch called Dropbags that used to scare me shitless when I was younger. Used to hide behind the sofa. Because they used to play with Rod and Emu, didn't they? Yeah. But I suppose later on, Miriam played. She was a character in Harry Potter. Can't remember what her character name was. Just remember that she was the one that did the part where they had to pot the screaming plants. There's something. Oh yeah, she starred in a bit of Blackadder. Remember that. Can't go through this red light. Being extra careful. I don't want to screw it up right at the last minute. But it's strange what you remember from when you were younger, and how different it is with an adult set of eyes, you know. I wonder if it's going to make me get out of the train. There you go. See how badly I did, I think it meant to say. Up, down, up, down, up, down. What was the high? The closest I got was 0.32. Wow, look at that. That's the closest I've ever got to bang on naught. Still got a gold medal though. Not bad. Right. Could do an American scenario. I don't normally run American stuff. So I've done all of that one. Let's see. I think I've kind of run out of the half length. But I've done that one. What do I want to do? That one or that one? They're both the same train, so. Let's do this one. It's a long journey. I've been kind of avoiding going back into VR. It's my horrible day of sickness. What are you doing in my train? Alright, master key. Okay. A wiper here somewhere. Want to make it go a bit faster. Or not. There we go. Purrs along. Very nice. Right. Headlights on. Low speed control. Excuse me. It's always good when you get out of the yard and you can open it up. That's what I like. Sure what I'm carrying there, but convinced I want to go into back into Elite Dangerous at a certain point. And I'm going to have to learn the controls all over again. There's meant to be a big upgrade coming where you could actually get out your ship and walk around. I found Elite Dangerous quite chill, even though I wasn't doing any combat, or I was basically just travelling places and exploring. I just found it very relaxing. Yellow light coming up. Give it a bit more welly because it's going up a bit of a gradient. I think this route is based in the 1980s. Saw some of the reactions to the BAFTAs a few days ago. Laura Bailey won an award for The Last of Us 2, which was cool. I was watching my usual. I catch the episode of Critical Role on Fridays. I can't watch it live, and you kind of see how Laura Bailey is when she's kind of herself, and then what she kind of transformed into when she was Abby was just astounding. The game still gives me chills. You know, I played it last year. It still gives me chills from thinking about the things that happened in it. Bit of wheel slip there, but nothing too major. Now coming down the other side. I'm never sure when I see a yellow light on this route whether I'm stopping right afterwards. Apparently so. Stopping before the red light, so... I like to hear the engine. And to go via... don't know whether I can tab through. No. Don't know whether the signal is going to change for me when I get there. Oh, didn't I try and do this one before, but I accidentally pressed the accelerator instead of the brake. Oh, can go through. I just remember being stuck at this signal and wondering why I was waiting so long. Probably wasn't this scenario. Give it a bit of welly. What's that emote there? Can't see. I don't know why you're paying attention to me. This isn't a masterclass, let's just say that. I'm always fumbling through. My boat. Thank you for the follow. My train, not my boat. Open her up. Yeah, baby. Oh, I'm gonna hit the bridge. Schmack. Don't even know if I'm gonna get to 50 miles an hour. Ooh, just skimmed the head. Now this train, along with the Class 47, are probably my favourite diesels. In this game, anyway. We're going to change tracks at 40 miles an hour. I knew it was too good to be true. Always got to remember, the brakes take ages to come off. Come on. I still haven't got used to that. I probably never will. There we go. I'm sure there's probably a button for the sander on the joypad, but I don't know what it is. Blowing down to 15 just for that short stretch. Annoying. Going to be up to 20 in a second. Poodling along. I never was good at braking or accelerating or anything to do with trains. Yeah, it's not my strong point. I panic quite a lot, and I forget that these things have a procedure with their brakes. It's alright when I'm not carrying any cargo, but I suppose particularly because I don't know these routes. I haven't memorised anything, so I don't know what's coming up. Got to pay attention to what's happening at the moment and adjust. I mean, if more of the trains supported the rail drive controller, maybe it would be a bit easier. I found it a bit more tactile. It's just the process of getting it out and putting it on the desk, and it supports 3 trains so far. And it's the trains that 2 of which I'm never going to run, so... Well, I say never. Probably will run the American trains, but never going to run on a German one. Just not interested. So we're going through Middlesbrough on a very foggy and it's actually making me cold just by being in the rain. But we're going through a 1980s Middlesbrough. What station it was before had it was 9:01 and the church bells were ringing for 9 o'clock. It really confused me. those cars had no wheels. I like the old-timey buses though, I think that's kind of cool. I just love the way it just purrs away. It's like a cat. I'm convinced I'm going to get back into Derail Valley again. I know that when I tried it last time, it didn't run that well. And it didn't look that great for the way it ran either. So... But I think since I played it last, and it was in VR when I played it, they overhauled it. They re-optimized it and did their thing. I found it very weird to control in VR because it didn't seem to support the index controllers very well. I always found it very strange. Maybe it was how it was running that it probably didn't make me feel very well, but you did get a very good sense of scale being on the back of the loco. Very cool. Yeah, baby! I don't know about anybody else, but I've gone through several phases when it comes to lockdown and stuff. Now, I don't consider myself a very outgoing person, so I didn't really mind being stuck at home. But there's still a matter of trying to occupy myself. That's been quite difficult. But there's been certain occasions where I have craved games and things which just had a bit more of a chill thing about them. Probably games I probably wouldn't have played if I wasn't stuck at home. So I wouldn't have thought I would be a person that would have bought Stardew Valley. I did. And for some reason, even the driving stuff that I used to do, I kind of shied away from playing some of it, just because it's sometimes a bit too stressful. I want to find things which are a bit more chilled out, you know. That's why I might be in the near future doing some VR meditation, you know. I suppose just to make these four walls disappear for a little bit, so there's a different location to be surrounded in. I did think about going back into it's called Altspace VR. It's kind of like a social app. I kind of got a bit too bored of VR chat because it was, I don't know, just some randoms that I didn't really want to be surrounded with. Space VR is the same, but it's probably a bit more refined, and you can kind of guarantee that the content that you're viewing is probably a bit more better to look at, let's put it that way, rather than just a hack together model and stuff. Yeah, and problem being with it, most of it's based in the US. So all the things that you'd take part in are in the American time zone, and it's far too late for me. I remember I did take part in a I don't know if it was a meditation seminar or just like an introduction to breathing exercises, and just being amongst other people, kind of sitting and relaxing, was kind of cool. But it was like 3 in the morning, so that reminds me, I should probably uninstall that Township Tale beta that I installed. Wasn't a fan. Alright, so there's a yellow light coming up here somewhere. Well, I don't know what that yellow light was, but I went through it. Thankfully, we get to open her up in a minute as well. Have a drink of Dr. Pepper while I wait. I am convinced there are some scenarios or some instances, especially on the express routes, that you probably could just stick it on full throttle and just put the controller down. That's kind of why I've shied away from doing the timetable stuff, because it's a bit too ordinary. You know, you're not expected to have any disruption or any particular challenge other than just going up and down the route. I want weird things to happen. I want to be able to do different things. Although there is that part of me that wants to do every route at least in the evening, just to see what it's like. Eagles Cliff. Didn't it say there's 17,000 points available? Something like that. I don't know whether I needed to turn the tail lights on. Don't know what they did. Please release me. I want to go faster. Boop. Oh, I'm on your head. Bonk. Doing a lot of crossing around, aren't we? Might even be able to go full throttle in a minute. Let's open her up. Race the bus. Bus is probably going like 60 or something. Go even faster, even though I'm at full throttle. I wonder if the camera changes when I hit the gantry. Nope. Dr. Pepper is lovely. There is a lot of buses around. Right. Yellow light, you say? Ooh, we're stopping at Eagles Cliff. Kind of looking forward to the Formula One coming back this weekend. It shall be good. That's, are we finally getting double yellows? Okay. That'll be a single yellow next. don't think it's going to take an awful lot to slow down from 30 miles per hour. Maybe this isn't the end of the scenario, because I've only got like 3,000 points. Maybe you get a bunch for stopping. Oh. There's a yellow light here somewhere in the gloominess. Just think this is the first scenario for this route. I suppose it's not that hard. The fact that it takes you into a very foggy place. Was overly cautious on the brakes, I think. I've not got used to how long yards are either. A bit of a mystery to me. I'm metric, don't you know? I think I have in the past. I have done an hour scenario and blown it right at the last minute. That's why I'm always extra careful. Viaduct is currently undergoing structural inspection, so also is south being diverted via Darlington. Okay. Shame I had to stop entirely to do this, but oh! Struggling. I just think it wanted you to stop all the way and then have to try and get going in, just to be cruel. scare the shit out of the people at the station. I don't think this can get up to 60 miles per hour, can it? Slowing for 30 and 2 miles. I mean, that's not going to be hard. I just need to idle and slow it down. The train isn't as long as I thought. Scare the crap out of the passengers again. Slow down a bit too early there. It's nothing like being prepared, is there? I thought we were going to change tracks then. I probably would have flipped it off the bridge if I could be going for 50 miles an hour. Baby. Imagine if you were a real train driver. How many trains would you really have experienced in your life? Do you master one or two? Or would you have several in your repertoire? Imagine if you were like, say, a goods train driver. How many types of goods trains would you have experience of in your lifetime? I wonder. You know, if you have a career that spans decades, how many trains would have come in and out of service in that time? So I think technically they still use these big diesels. Well, maybe not now. Maybe it's more the Class 66 type. It's kind of like a modern diesel train with some new bells and whistles in there. Sometimes literally. we're not going to slow down too quickly this time. I mean, we're only taking off 10 miles per hour, so how hard could it be? Yellow. I'll go in the cockpit for this. Still slowed down too early. That's apparently a yellow light. For me, anyway. G. I don't know what G is. The hell am I listening to? We're now in Darlington. A very wet Darlington. I don't know what film this is from, and why I would have it. Doing that thing again. I slow down too much because I get scared because it's a red light in front of me. am I waiting on? Nothing. That's what I'm waiting on. Oh, it's only 5,000 points. I wonder what the maximum... Maybe I was looking at the wrong scenario. Maybe the 17 grand was for something else. Oh, you need to get past 4,000. What was the 17 grand for? Yeah, that was for one of the other ones. Who knows? I think the only two on that one I don't really want to do. So I don't like the class 101. To the beach. It's a full... We've got one more to do in this one. Ooh, 75 minutes though. I don't really want to do that. That's probably the one I'll probably do to start off with next time though. I do like the Class 66. It is rather cool. Have a look at the timetable. So, what happens normally is there'd be like a set of 5 or so. It would be pretty much the same route, and then it just repeats itself throughout the day. It's like, it's not really a challenge. What would the HST have on it? Intercity. Two plus 8, 2 plus 7. I don't know what that means, but... Just to finish off, I'll simulate going back to the depot. Wait for the brake pipe to come off. H. Be Shift H to, yeah. There we go. I don't think they finished the paint job. Sure, an Intercity is coloured all the way along the carriage, no? I'm sure the signals are very, very close to the top of the trains. Ooh, it is dark in here, isn't it? Let's turn the cab light off. Strange it. Well, I suppose because I've got the Intercity installed. There's a patch you can put on to change all the trains to the First Great Western. But I've put an Intercity patch on top of it, so I probably might take that off. Actually, not that great. I just remember an Intercity being blue and white, but it doesn't seem to be that accurate. Changing tracks. We get snail space along here. Oh, it needs a bit of welly to get up here. I don't think I've been across here before. The music is suitably spooky. Goes a 166. I think I was able to park up my train last time, and I was actually able to take it across a couple of junctions and fill it up with fuel. Didn't think that was possible, but I managed it. Going to be crawling along at 5 miles per hour. Speeding. Through the train wash we go. Strange that this train hasn't got a lot of low speed control or something. Maybe I'm unaware that it maybe has, but I don't know how to access. Or maybe that's something for... Well, I suppose some of the newer trains have cruise control. Some of the freight locomotives have slow speed control, but that's specifically because they're going through a... They're dropping off cargo. All that time looking at that 5 miles per hour thing, and I didn't actually twig that I was supposed to be actually slowing down. Silly. It's in between notches as well. Going up a slight incline. Torture. It's darker in the why do I keep calling it a cockpit? It's not a cockpit. There's quite a few at the depot though, look. I have wondered Because when I finished one of my scenarios, I returned to free roam, and I took one of these trains for a jaunt, and I wondered whether it would actually mess up the dispatcher, because I would basically be moving a train that would be ready for a service sometime in the near future, and this dispatcher would be confused at why the train had moved. I'm wondering whether that would screw things up, whether you'd actually break the dispatcher. But could you imagine doing like a charity stream or something where you had to do an entire day and you were only allowed to stay on the same line, but you had to get out of a train and then get in the next one, or find another train to get in to then do the next service. And you had to at least run for 12 hours. You would hope you would get better and your route knowledge would go up, but, you know, maybe not. Maybe you would die of boredom. I don't know, it just seems there's a hell of a shade on the window. Tint on the window, that's the word I'm looking for. Not shade. Do they really have to go this slow to come into the yard? Ironic that the music that's just come on is about speed. And I have none. Or not allowed to go faster. I don't think the Southern High Speed's going to go on sale for at least another 3 months. Don't really want to buy it at full price, because I have other things to buy. Namely, another monitor stand, a desk chair. Gold! Nice. Right, must remember to uninstall that Intercity, because I don't